graveyard. It's so nice of you to join me here tonight. I see you guys listen to the memo to wear your black or your dark colors because you definitely don't want to be seen by any spirits around. And remember, since you came in one way, you're going to want to leave another way, or else those spirits are going to follow you back home. And while you're here, be wary of any graves growing weeds on them. They're saying that bad folks are in those graves. And just like a lot of these stories, if a ghost does follow you home, make sure you cover your mirrors. They use mirrors as a portal, and they'll definitely latch onto you then. But, there's a lot of different ghost stories like that. Just like the one with the girl. What was it? The girl that stood on a grave? From that superstition, don't stand on a grave past midnight. It goes like this. The girl and her group of friends went to the graveyard late one night and started playing around, fighting each other, tugging at each other's hair. Horseplay. Things you should never do anyway. Well, they stayed and stayed till it got just about midnight. Then they started talking about that superstition. One of the friends said, "I bet you can't stand on that grave," to the girl. She said, "I'm not scared of standing on a grave. Nothing's going to happen to me." He said, "I bet you won't." And the girl said, "I bet I will." And so she doubled the wager. She said, "If you give me $1 right now, I'll go do it, and you'll see that there's nothing to be afraid of." Her friend said, "Okay, well, here's a knife for protection. Go ahead and stick it in the ground, just to make the person mad at you." The girl said, "That's crazy. Why would that even matter? This superstition isn't even real." The boy said, "Well, you aren't scared, are you?" The girl was, "Of course I'm not scared." So she took the knife and the money and went to a grave. Her friends went on off without her, knowing that midnight was coming up closer. You see, they were afraid, but the girl had so much to prove. So as she stood there, she dug that knife deep into the grave, folding her arms, looking around, checking the time. Midnight. Nothing to be afraid of. See, she was right the whole time, right? Wrong. Just as she called out to them, "See, nothing's happening," she felt something tugging at her shoe. It was a light touch at first, and then heavy, a tight grip, as though someone was pulling her down. She started screaming, "Guys, I think something's happening. Help me." But her friends were just laughing. "I thought everything was okay," they would say. Laughing and laughing, making sure that everything was just a superstition. But she kept screaming and screaming, "I'm for real, something's happening!" And something was happening. She fell from that force, whatever it was. And her friends ran over to check on her. Sure enough, she was dead. But there was nothing else there except for the knife. No blood on it. No ghost. The superstition was just a superstition. But like all things, there's always a grain of truth there. So how do you explain the girl dying? Turns out she just died of fear. But if you're not careful, you might end up just like her. So be sure to listen to all superstitions that you hear, even if they sound a little bit crazy. There's always a little bit of truth in them. Come on to the graveyard, but be careful.